Hiya, it's Ali here, and it's Friday, so that means Funky Fossil as usual. And today what I'm doing is I'm going to finish off a colouring that I actually started last week. I gave you a sneaky peek in a couple of the groups, and I was asking about anybody who wanted just to see how I did the colouring, how I did the process of colouring. I'd had a few people ask me about how I got depth and shade and all that kind of thing, and also the different mediums that I use. So I'm going to make this a quickish video. I'll just turn this into a card at the end. I have started it so that it's not too long. The stamp that I'm going to use is this gorgeous stamp. I absolutely love this. It's so sweet. It's the Little Fox in the Meadow, and that's been actually designed by Sandra Hergott. I hope I've got your name right, Sandra. And it's this beautiful little scene of a little meadow, as it suggests. But if you look closely, you can see a little fox, a little cat, a squirrel, and a little mouse and some butterflies, and it's almost every time you look in you see something a little bit different, and I just think it's a beautiful little card, and you can colour it up and just put a little sentiment on, and it's a nice quick and easy card. So I have stamped that out. The other stamps that I'll be using will be just for the sentiment, and it's the Little Fox and Friends, also by Sandra, and I'm going to use the Hello Lovely sentiment off that. So that's from this gorgeous little stamp set as well. And the other thing is that if you have one of these little foxes or rabbits coloured up, you could also of course put that over the top. I think I might have one coloured up somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, I think I have somewhere, but I think it's in another box at the other end of the room. So, but you could, of course, have a little rabbit or one of the little foxes, and just add him to the front as a raised little element there. So what I've done is, for this particular one, I'm using my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noirs and a couple of the blend Spectrum Noirs, because I find these, if I want to do something quite quickly and I don't want to be thinking too much about blending and shade and highlights, etc., it's all in this pen, because you've got your dark blend, your mid blend and your light blend. I am only going to show you how I colour, so it's not set in stone, it's not gospel, but it's just how I do it. And the other thing I'm going to be using as well is a white gel pen, because that I usually use them to do like little bits of highlights. But if you can see on this, I've completed these two flowers here, and you can see where I've built up the shade and the light, and then I've just put the little bits of the white gel pen to highlight. Okay, so you'll have to excuse me because I've got a little bit of a sore throat today, yeah, I'm going to sound a bit gravelly. So I'm going to pop the camera a little bit closer so that whilst I'm colouring you can see what I'm doing. It's not too far away, so just bear with me 1 second. Wrong way. There you go, just so that you can see a little bit better when I start using the pens. So if you have got Tri-Blend colours, I will just let you know which one I'm using whilst I'm doing it. So I'm going to finish the Little Fox. Now, I coloured the Little Fox all in one go with the gold yellow blend. Oopsie daisy, see I'm getting too close now. The gold yellow blend for the Spectrum Noir brush. So I've just given that its first coat. Okay, and I just want to go in and I just want to deepen these edges. It's just for that light and shade really, but they're very, very forgiving little pens of these. They're absolutely brilliant. You can't really make many mistakes. So I'm just going to go on the outlines there just to give it some light and shade, and then I'm just going to pop in with that lightest colour all over again to blend it all in together. And then we've got the little foxes all blended. Little squirrel down here, I'm going to do exactly the same. So he or she has already had a little coat of colour, so I'm just going to deepen that like so. So again, I'm using the light bit, then I'm going to go to the mid part of the brush. Okay, and then I'm going to go from the bottom and from the top and just add some shading, and then down to the dark bit, and then the tiniest bit. I'm going to go out of the lines because it's such a tiny little image, but it doesn't matter too much. And then when you've done that, you go back to that very light one again and just blend it together so that you get rid of any harsh lines. And there's your little squirrel. Okay, now for the little cat, I have used the brown grey blend, okay, and that's made up of BG2, BG6 and BG9. And I've just given him or her that first little coat. I'm literally just going to do that again to start establishing those darker patches. Okay. And then go straight to the dark. I just want to pop dark round there. Not too dark. Excuse me. And then I'm going to grab that light again, and just where I've introduced that colour, I'm just blending it in. So there's no, can you see how I've blended to take that harsh, so you can see on this side there's that harsh line there, but on this side I'm just blending it in, and all I'm doing is just going over what I've coloured and just pulling it into the centre, and it's kind of reactivating the alcohol and moving it, and the colours then blend in nicely. Okay, and then just all in one go, and then your little cat's all done there. Excuse me. And then I'm just going to pop up to the little mouse up here, and I'm going to, because there's such little images, they don't need a massive amount of attention, if you know what I mean. So with the little mouse, I've just done the first layer of colour. I'm just popping down, and I'm just dotting because with the image being so tiny, if I start putting it down and doing this, I'm going to go in other places where I don't want to go. So I'm just dotting a little bit, and again, so that's popped in where I want it to look a little bit dark, and then I'm just going to pop in again with that light and just dot over. And because what you've already done is slightly wet, it's going to blend it a lot quicker as well. So you can see there, I've just blended that in. Okay, and then all I'm going to do to finish that is I'm going to pop, to the little mouse should I say, is just pop some pink in the ear. And with the cat, I'm going to do exactly the same around the ear. I'm going to pop in some pink, and then maybe a little pink blush. Can't see that there. A little bit of pink blush on his or her face. I'm just going to blend that again with that grey. So he looks like, or he or she looks like got a little bit of blush there. Okay, and again with that pink, I'm just going to pop a little bit in the ear area of the little fox as well. Okie dokie, now then, I used this for the flowers as well. So all I'm going to do is the same process as I did with these. And what I did was I put the whole colour down, so a whole layer onto the flower petals. And then I'm going to go in then with the mid. So I go from the bottom and I flick up. Okay, then I turn my paper because it makes it easier. So make it easy for yourself, not harder. And then literally flicking from the bottom up to the top. Like so, and then down here, just pull it down. It's just following the line of the flower. And then just let that alcohol dry and settle and move on to the next petal. That rhymed as well, didn't it? And then again, following those contours. Okay, so this is just using that mid part of your pen. So let that dry. And then up from the bottom of here, and literally just flicking up. With some of them, it's just a case of that flower's quite small, so just do a small movement up from the bottom. Okay, and then you've got a couple down here. And then here and here. Okay. And then you want to go to your darkest colour in that pen, and you're literally just going to flick up, but not quite as far as you did with the mid-tone. So you're kind of building, if you can see, you're building the lightened shade and whatnot. Okay. So can you see where you're actually building up, whoops daisy, you're building up that colour, and then I'll show you how to blend it in a minute so that you get that nice seamless blend. So then let that dry, move on to your next petal. Sorry. Okay, and the next one. And the next one. And really all it is it's layers, it's creating layers onto your project. I typically layer up from light to dark. Sometimes I'll do it the opposite way around. It depends on the project that I'm doing, so it just depends on what I'm doing as to which way down or up or down I'll go. With the little butterfly, I'm just going to pop, because I've got the dark out, I'm just going to pop the dark right at the bottom, and then I'm going to flip over to the light and then just fill the rest of the butterfly in. Such a tiny little butterfly. Sorry you didn't see that. So this little butterfly down here, I'm just going to complete him by popping that on. And then with the lovely little bumblebee up here, I'm just going to pop in. That's all he needs really. Okay, so now going back to our flowers, I'm going to grab the lightest colour and I'm working down, okay, from the top, and in a circular motion I'm just going to blend into that line. Can you see where that line's disappeared now? Okay, I'm going to do the same here and on each and every other petal. Bit squeaky. The paper that I'm using is, this particular one is actually Nina Bright White cardstock. I bought it from a Crafter's Companion outlet, and it's actually very, very good paper to stamp onto because it's nice and smooth. and you can layer your alcohol pens beautifully onto it. So that's the reason that I use it. I use other ones, but rather than going into them here and confusing you, each time I do a colouring I'll just tell you which paper I've used on that particular time. I think I may have to do a video going through all the tools and things that I use, and just a little bit more of an in-depth. But just for today I wanted to finish this lovely colouring and get that into a card and into group for you. Okie dokie. So that is the flowers. Now what I sometimes do is I just grab the darkest colour and just intensify that a little bit more. Sometimes it depends on how it looks. Okay, so I've just intensified that a little bit more and then quickly blend it in. There we go. So it's just intensified the base of that flower a little bit more. Okay, for the centres I have used the gold yellow blend. So I've literally, this is what I do, I put the first layer on and then I let it dry. So then I go and find any others that need the same thing. So it's just those two. Okay. Also, just another quick point, I have used Memento ink because that is the ink that you need to use when you're using alcohols, because it's the opposite. So if you use VersaFine and you use alcohol inks, you're going to spread your work and you're going to make a mess and you're not going to be very happy. So right, and then so basically you're just letting it dry so it's evaporating that alcohol. Then you can go on to your next layer. So I just grab the mid-tone, and where the dots are I kind of use any shading that's already in an image. That will help me to decide what's light and what's dark. So a lot of images will help you out quite nicely. So that's the mid tone, and then the very dark bits I'm just dabbing like so. Okay, and then to finish it off I'm just literally going to blend with the lightest colour again. Okay, and then after a few seconds that's going to dry back quite nicely. Okay, also before coming on to the camera to film in, I did the leaves. So what I'm going to do with the leaves is I'm going to grab, I think I'll try mid-tone first before I go too dark. So I'm just going to cast a little bit of shadow. I don't want to be doing too much with the leaves. And it literally, I'm just dotting like so. I don't want too much. So just dot in the bottom. Okay, and then it is quite quick. It's not because this is such a small image, it's quite a quick process, but you can get a beautiful image, a beautiful coloured image, and you don't have to be an artist to achieve a really good colouring. And the pens really do help. They do a lot of the work for you if you are a beginner. But if you have had a little bit more experience, you can utilise them. They will help you a lot more because you understand the concept, if you know what I mean. So with the darkest, I'm just going to put a little bit. That's not the darkest, Alicia. With the darkest, I'm just going to pop a little bit on some, just to cast. Okay. because there's light and shadow, and you go and have a look at the grasses and what have you. There's lots of shadows and light and beautiful colour. Okay, I'll pop some here and here. There we go. So I'm going to call that colouring now completed. So just let me take you back up a little bit. Like so. So I'm going to call that completed. So just to recap, and I'll pop it on a card, we used the beautiful Little Fox in the Meadow by Sandra Hergott. Turn it the right way around. Okay, that's the stamp that we used. And then I'm going to use, for the sentiment, I'm going to use the Hello Lovely, wrong way around. No, it's not. The Hello Lovely stamp, and that's from the Little Fox and Friends, again by Sandra Hergott. So let me just grab the Hello Lovely, and it's only a small stamp, so I should get away with doing that straight onto my card without my stamp platform. Okay, so make sure that's as straight as possible. I'm just going to pop Hello Lovely, the perfect little area in there. Okay, and then pop that up. Sort that out in a minute. And then I'm just going to, I've got a prepared card here. I'm just going to pop you up a little bit more. There we go. I've got a prepared card base here, so just let me pop that out of the way. And all I'm going to do is edge this card just a little bit with a very light pink. So I'm going to use the Spectrum Noir, and I'm going to use a nice pink colour. Now for those wanting to know, it's BP2, so it's in the bright pink range. I'm just literally going to, okay, pop that away, and I'm going to grab my glue. Here, I've already grabbed it. And I'm going to adhere that to my card base, should I say. So this has taken about 20 minutes, well 20 minutes from me, but I did do a little bit of preparation before videoing. But it is a really lovely, summery and quick card. And I've really enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed watching that coming together. I'm just going to pop a couple of little water gems on, because why wouldn't I? And that will be completed. So I'm going to pop one there and a little one there. Whoopsie daisy. Let's pop that there. And then I think we'll pop one up here, like so. There we go. So I'll just pop that up to the camera so that you can see that. Really enjoyed doing that. Really enjoyed doing the colouring. I think I'll do a few more colouring videos for you. Just pick out a stamp set and have a play. And I've also got colouring crayons, pencils, H2Os, distress inks, all sorts of other different colouring mediums. And we'll try some different ones in the next few weeks in videos. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're having a fantastic, funky Fossil Friday. And if you want me to do anything with any of the stamps, or show you any sample, you know, do something on video with any of the stamps, just drop me a PM or pop it in the Funky Fossil group. Or if you want me to show you how I do any techniques that I've done on any of the samples that I've photographed and put in, just let me know and I'll absolutely do a video, no problem. Anything you want or need, and I shall do it, no problem. So again, have a funky Friday, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Friday for another video. Take care for now. Bye.